Hey guys. Oh my goodness. We've been waiting for this. I was taking a nap, but I kept peeking because I knew it was coming and I was like, finally. Hey, Ryan. All right, you're driving. Well, I'll just read out loud so you can listen. Hey, Linda. Hey, Fancy Macy. Hey, Warlord of Art. Hey, Princess Megan also. This is some crazy ish. I was reading it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's not as detailed. I mean, it's detailed, but it's also not as detailed as I thought it would be. Yeah, it's totally crazy. Um, so maybe we should just get into it. Let's go. All right. So first page. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is here. I'll share my screen, but it's kind of. All right. I don't know if you'll be able to see it though well. Ah, shoot. Hold on. I'm going to have to do it like page by page. So, bear with me. I don't have a I'm like pulling it from something where it's just in pieces. So, all right. I'm going to try and zoom in maybe and get a little closer. Okay. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer with the county of Lada. I don't know. I think it's say Lada. State of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of corporal and has been trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CPL Payne is being assisted by members of Idaho State Police and agents of the FBI. Hey, Cheryl, you too. On November 13th at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police ISP forensic team was on scene and preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD officer OFC Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. OFC Smith and I walked upstairs to the second floor. So they walked into the living room area. OC Smith directed me down a hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. She was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. So she was obviously stabbed. I believe we already know she had defensive wounds, but I don't know exactly. It sounds a little weird based on how it was described, but let's keep going. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy report provided by Spokane. Let me go to the next one. To be caused by sharp force injuries. That's what they. Nothing really. I just started with that. They just saw Xana Kernodle on the floor, and she had wounds. She was killed by wounds with an edged weapon, and they also found Ethan in the Zano seemed to be like on the floor out of the room, and Ethan was in the room. Ethan had sharp force injuries, they referred to. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kayla Gonsalves, hereafter Gonsalves' room. So hers is the bigger one. Kaylee's was the bigger one. I later learned from review of Officer Nunez's body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. So the dog was in Kaylee's room. The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack DeCure. So sounds like to me that the killer put the dog in that room. I found out from my interview with Jack DeCure on November 13th that he and Gonsalves shared the dog. OFC Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogen's, hereafter Mogen bedroom, which was situated in the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered Madison's room, he could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. So they were both in a single bed. They were both deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side. So I guess we could conclude that he went up there first. So it sounds like either Maddie or Kaylee was his initial target, in my opinion. Because if the knife sheath was found next to Maddie, that's where he would initially took the sheath off and you know, and I imagine he snuck up there, put the dog in the room. Yeah, they were in the room with the boots in the window. They were in Maddie's room. I believe Kaylee's room was probably empty because she had moved out and she, you know, she was staying. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was totally empty, but the dog was in Kaylee's room. Yeah, the sheath was in the room. So Maddie and Kaylee were the first ones to pass. It sounds like, you know what I mean? It sounds like he went up there, took the sheath, hid the dog, took the sheath off, and killed them first. So maybe they were the initial targets, you know what I mean? And then he went downstairs and Xana was awake. All right, let me keep going so you'll see. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females on a single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogen were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also noticed later what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, United States Marine Corps, Eagle Globe, and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, suspect profile, left on the bottom snap of the knife sheath. So, like, where you would unsnap it. Well, I believe that the DNA came back to his dad, so I think it was his dad's knife. From what I read, that's what it sounded like. We'll get to that part and then we can talk about it, but as part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included Bethany Frankel, is that her last? What's her? I think it was Beth. And Dylan Mortensen. They abbreviate it, but that's who they're talking about. This is really strange to me when they talk about that, but you'll see. They were inside the King Road residence at the time, the homicides, and they were roommates to the victims Bethany Frankel's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor in the King Road residence. Based on numerous interviews conducted by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by Bethany at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. She also estimated that at 1:45 a.m., Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. Bethany also stated that Chapin did not live in the King Road residence but was a guest of Kernodle. Gonsalves and Mogan were at a local bar, the Corner Club, at 202 Main Street in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 and 1:30 a.m. Now, we know he was not at the Corner Club at all. He wasn't there, so it didn't happen from that. He picked them somehow before that, sounds like. All right. Hold on. Did I read all this? Okay, yeah, no, I didn't. All right. Hold on. If it's his dad's knife, so what do you do? Take it with him? I guess. I don't. It said that when they ran the. All right, so I was kind of confused. I don't know if they meant when they took DNA from his house, it was his dad's, or if the DNA on the knife was his dad's. So I was kind of reading through it fast, so we'll get to that. But either the DNA they stole from his house was his dad's, or the DNA on the knife. I'm not sure. So, but they do say it. I was just a little confused. All right, so Gonsalves and Mogan can be seen on the video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. The video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, Blank, reported that he provided a ride to Gonsalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to King Road residence. Dylan and Bethany both made statements during an interview that indicate the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by 4. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at 4 a.m. So Xana was up and got DoorDash at 4 a.m. So this is really bizarre because the killings happened around 4:17. So she got DoorDash and then right after. Dylan stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. So Dylan was upstairs. We thought she was down in the basement. She was not. Her bedroom was upstairs on the second floor with Xana and Ethan. So she's on the same floor of Xana and Ethan, which is crazy to me. She got really freaking lucky. Really lucky. Wait till you hear this. She stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonsalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which I'm going to assume it wasn't Gonsalves. It was maybe the killer, trying to put the dog away, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this also could have been Kernodle, as her cell phone indicated she was likely awake using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. So she's on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. and the killings happened at 4:17. I believe they said the guy got there at 4:17. So, all right, next page. Sorry, I forget what page I'm at, so give me a second. Okay, that's not that, so it's 4. All right, here's the next one. Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything. When she heard the comment about someone being in the house, she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. I believe from a window picture, there is a bag from Jack in the Box with Xana's name on it. So she must have got food from Jack in the Box at 4 a.m. Xana ordered the DoorDash. Xana was awake. I know, Larissa, right? So Xana was awake. And then Xana said, someone's in the house. Well, they believe it was Xana. Dylan thought it was Kaylee who said it, but the police believe it may have been Xana because she was using TikTok at that time. So Dylan looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard a comment about someone being in the house. She stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." I don't know if that was Ethan or if that was the killer, but somebody said to her, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera, all right, so I believe, all right, so approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road residence immediately to the northwest of 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. So I personally think he was upstairs at 4:17 and maybe Maddie and Kaylee whimpered and then there was a loud thud and that the dog was barking and then he put the dog away maybe. Maybe that's what awoke her. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. Or maybe they heard Xana. I don't know. Dylan Mortensen stated she opened her door for a third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. She described the figure as 5'10" or taller, a male, not very muscular but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. So this is crazy to me. She saw this man leaving the house. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding door, and Dylan locked herself in her room after seeing the male. Dylan did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. So this is what blows my mind. Why didn't she call 911 right then? You know what I mean? She heard crying and whimpering and saw some dude walk out of the house. Like, sis, why did you not call 911? Maybe she thought it was like a friend they had over. I don't know. But what the hell? That's just so crazy to me. Maybe she was in shock, but to wait till 12 p.m. the next day? Yeah, apparently they believe it was Brian leaving the house. The combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Bethany and Dylan's phone, and a video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. Yeah, it doesn't make maybe I don't that's just so bizarre to me. Like, why did you not call 911 if you heard people crying and weird noises, or did she just think it was like a friend over? I don't. But if you saw someone dressed in all black with a mask on, yeah, he walked past her and didn't kill her, and then she was in shock and locked herself in a room, and 911 wasn't called till the next day until noon, unless she passed out. Maybe that was the I don't know. Like maybe she passed out of fear and then fell asleep until 12. I have no idea, but that's just really bizarre to me that like why didn't you call 911? Like if she had called 911 then, they might have lived. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have gotten medical help right away and they may have lived. So like that's crazy to me. I mean, one or like somebody could have survived. Maybe they could have possibly survived that if she called 911 and they got there right away. So I'm just so I don't understand that at all. I don't know that I ever will, but that is just yeah, like you hear crying and you hear weird stuff and you're scared and you lock yourself in your room and don't call 911. That's just really bizarre to me. I don't know why, but somebody may have survived if she had called 911. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to a pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole. Maybe, Sarah. I don't know. So it sounds like they were wearing Vans. I wonder if they found a similar shoe in his house. But, I mean, I'm sure he would have just thrown them shoes out because they were probably bloody and whatever, you know. Um, All right, so they found the shoe just outside of Dylan's bedroom, consistent with her statement that that was the suspect's path of travel. So it sounds like to me, Dylan's bedroom was the one closer to the kitchen and Xana's was further away, maybe? Because he would have had to walk past her room to get to the sliding door. I don't know. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from early morning hours of November 13th, 2022 in the area of King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvass resulted in a collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversation with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing the footage that was obtained. Yeah, I agree. Unless he was like super tired at that point and just didn't care, but yeah, my immediate reaction would be go check on my friends. You know what I mean? I want to. Someone communicated with another creator the same story about the roommate seeing the killer with nose and mouth covered. Crazy. The creator received it in December but held on to it until arrest was made. Yeah. Hey, Nina. Yeah, I'm not. I feel like even though they released a lot of info, they also held a lot back. Like, they didn't really explain who had the worst injuries or go into any of that. It's really just evidence stuff, you know. Yeah, but if they're your roommates, they're your friends, you know what I mean? Like, they were definitely friends because there's videos of them, like, hanging out and stuff. Xana was definitely Dylan's friend. So, I'm just there's, like, TikToks of them all hanging out, sitting on each other's laps and stuff, so I just can't believe. I mean, maybe she was afraid he would come back or he was gonna come back inside, which I can understand, but if you have a phone in your room, girl, call 911. She could have saved somebody's life. If they had gotten medical emergency care there right away, it's possible they could have probably saved someone's life. I mean, I don't know the extent of the injuries. I'm just saying it's, you know what I mean? It could have made a big difference. There's been people who've been stabbed many times and they still survive. So, all right. So a review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Ave at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28. It appeared suspect vehicle was not displaying the front license plate. We're gonna Google Earth this stuff because I need to see like a visual. Yeah, there's really no excuse not to call 911, especially if you saw a weird dude just like, you know, leaving your house. I mean, I think he didn't. I think maybe he didn't kill her because it was, you know, it was already like he was already tired. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to kill that many people. All right, 700 block of Indian Hills Drive. So. Huh. All right, hold on. That's Indian Hills Drive. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. How do I save this? I wanted to add to project. There we go. All right, so here's Indian Hills Drive, and here's King Road. So we'd have to come around here, go this street here, and come there. So does Pullman go this way on Google? I don't know. Pullman, Washington is that way. All right. We got that. Now let me move on. He probably thought Charity called 911. He wanted out at that point. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we don't have front plates either where I live. But he, at that time, still had PA plates, I believe. So he wouldn't have had front plates then. Well, that's what they're saying. Brian's behind all of this. All right. All right. What did I do? Oh my gosh, I'm hitting all kinds of buttons. Here we go. All right, so he's at Indian Hills Drive, and then is seen westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at 3:28. I'm assuming Steiner is this one, maybe. Where would it tell me the street name? Let's see what this says. No. Steiner Ave. Oh yeah, it's going way out of Steiner Avenue, Moscow. Okay, so yeah, that's Steiner right here. So like I said, he drove over here and then came up on what's this? Taylor, or is that Taylor? I think this is Taylor. All right. Yeah, PA does not require both. All right. All right, so he's on Steiner at 3:28. On this video, it appears suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of the footage from multiple videos obtained from King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes initial 3 passes by 1122 King Road residents, then leaves via Walenta Drive. So he drives by the house 3 times. Probably hyping himself up to do it. You know what I mean? All right. So Walenta Drive is here. Oh, I didn't know you can come in that way. Oh, I guess up here you can come in maybe? Or you go, oh, okay, around and in. So he came in on Walenta here. So I guess he passed maybe this way 3 times to see if he could see if they were asleep yet. Like driving by to see if they were asleep. That's probably what he was doing because this guy seems like a total pussy and probably didn't want to go in there while they were awake. You know what I mean? Yeah, cruising the neighborhood all over. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours, which I can totally believe. If you walked outside of my house at 4 a.m., you probably wouldn't see anybody. Maybe like one car, like you're not going to see hardly anyone at that time. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit. So I guess maybe they went through all the cars and figured out that some were not his, whatever. All right, here we go. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time at approximately 4:04 a.m. So this is where he's like, all right, it's happening. We're going in. He can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road. Okay. Oh, so that's the apartment building. So he goes past at 404, comes here and turns around in here and comes back. The suspect vehicle 1 is when suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road resident, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. So this is King Road, right? And that's Queen Road. So I think this is Queen Road, right? And I guess this little area here is King. So he turns around. He's here trying to park. Then he drives by again, turns around. All right, so he makes a 3-point turn at the intersection, which I guess is here, right? Unless Queen, whatever. He turns here and drives down Queen Road again. He's next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at 4:20. So he goes in around 15 minutes he's in there. He does all this in like 15 minutes. At approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. He is next observed traveling southbound on Valenta. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive, and Palouse River Drive is the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. So I guess they ruled him out from other roads and believed that he went that way. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. I mean, you got to be pretty stupid to leave the knife sheath, but I guess if you're really that like hyped up, you might, miss something like that. Yeah, telling Xana it's all right, I can help you. Maybe that was Ethan. I don't know. I think the craziest part so far is that her freaking friend saw the dude and goes back in her room till 12 o'clock the next day and doesn't call 911. I mean, that just blows my mind. Somebody's life could have been saved had she have called 911. You know what I mean? Like, he was on heroin a long time, like a couple years ago, I believe, but not anymore, supposedly. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, model of an unknown vehicle that was observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His special training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues. Oh shoot, I exited out of freaking, what's it called? Yeah, he probably wore gloves to cover his tracks, but left the knife sheath. It was probably hard to open the knife, like the little button, with gloves on too. But that's what I'm wondering is like if he had gloves on, how did that happen? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out where I am. Alright, that's not it. It's this one. Hopefully there's no more street names because I exited out of Google Earth by accident. All right. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011-2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 through 2016 Hyundai Elantra, which we know it was a 2015 or 2016, I believe. It was later. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011-2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, so this is the night of the murders, right? Or were they killed on the 12th? So he was out before, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of a white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed southeast on Nevada in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270, which connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow. So they see his car coming from Pullman to Moscow around almost 3 a.m. This camera footage from Pullman, Washington, was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 and 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of, so this is after the murders, suspect vehicle 1 was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus. So he went back in, they have him at 5 a.m. back in there. Yeah, he didn't look clean to me either. Maybe he's, switched to something else like meth or, like doing lots of Adderall. They said he didn't sleep that much. He didn't look like he slept that much. He was always tired. All right, I did this one already. Hold on. So here's the next one. All right, Pullman, Washington. Hold on. All right, so they have at 5:25 a.m. a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. God darn it. 1300 Johnson Road. 1300 Johnson Road. Let me type that in real quick. If it ever loads. All right, so it's basically right on the main street that comes in. Look. So here's Idaho, here's Moscow, and then the road that comes in, and then it takes you right here. Why is it? I want to put. There we go. All right, so a Jehovah Witness place. So I guess he was driving by here. Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road, which leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. So. All right, so I guess he comes. Oh, he must have came in this way. Hold on. Yeah, that. Okay, yeah. It actually goes right. Look, it goes right to their area. If you take this road, this makes sense. So he takes this road, I'm guessing. Comes up here, then turns here, and is seen here. The Bishop Boulevard. Okay. And northwest on SR 270. So do I just type in SR 270? SR. Oh, so we must come up here, then on to Bishop, and then goes on to Washington 270? Weird. All right. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on camera traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, and Stadium Drive at... All right. Let's look at Stadium Way. Okay, so I'm guessing he comes up. Okay, all right. I got what he's doing. So he comes up Johnson, right? Then he gets on Bishop because this turns on the Bishop right here. This becomes Bishop. You go right. So he's on Bishop. Then he comes to this intersection here and makes a left on Washington. And then turns here on Stadium Way. This is Stadium Way all the way because it goes by the stadiums. So Stadium Way, there's probably a Nevada Street over here. So he goes up Stadium Way. All right. So he takes Stadium Way this way. I'm not... Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't think that was a Prius, I'm pretty sure. So I don't even think it was connected, to be honest. This supposedly shows the path of travel, but I can't tell anything, so. I keep doing that. Exit out. Ugh. Let's see if maybe this one is a little better. I keep exiting out of Google Earth by accident like a dummy. All right. On November 25th, MPD asked area law enforcement to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai in the area. On November 29th, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University officer Danielle Tiengo queried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located a 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. The vehicle was registered to Brian Koberger. Hereafter, Koberger residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road. Come on. 1630 Northeast Valley Road. Oh. So look, he drove up Stadium Way, and then turned here, I imagine, right here. And it goes right into his apartment. Here's his apartment. Steptoe Apartments. There he goes, right on in there to his apartment. So that was his route home. They literally have his entire route home on camera, all the way from Idaho, which is pretty damning. You know what I mean? They followed him all the way back. Yeah, Ellie knew for a long time who it was. Is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way, the last camera location that picked up the white Elantra. Yep. The same day, at approximately 12:58 a.m., WSU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for white Hyundai Elantras and located a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. Northeast Valley Road is an apartment complex that houses WSU. Students. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Koberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Koberger's Washington State driver's license information and photograph. The license indicate that Koberger is a white male with a height of 6 feet, weighs 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Koberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows. Let's look at his eyebrows. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Sorry, my alarm went off. I mean, his eyebrows look really bushy there. Like in this picture, they look bushy, you know. It's consistent with the description of the male saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. Further investigation, including a review of Latah County Sheriff's Deputy's CPL, Duke's body cam and reports showed that on August 21st, 2022, Brian Koberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by Corporal Duke. At the time, Koberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFZ 8649, which was set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During the stop, which was recorded via a law enforcement body cam, Koberger provided his phone number as blah, 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 8458. Hereafter, the 8458 phone as his cellular telephone number. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that The 8458 phone number is a number issued by AT&T. On October 14, 2022, Brian Koberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by a WSU police officer. Upon review of the body cam and report of the stop, Koberger was the sole occupant and driving a 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate LFC 8649. On November 18th, 2022, according to Washington State Licensing, Koberger registered a 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received a Washington plate, CFB 8708. I wonder if he purposely timed that so the plate would change. But yeah. I can't believe Dylan didn't call 911. She could have saved somebody's life, Parker. I'm just so completely floored by that. Like, why did you not call 911? Ugh. Oh, Cape Core. I did a whole show on Kratom, by the way, when we were talking about the Vaughn case, and I did some interviews, and I did 2 shows, the bad side of Kratom and the positive side of Kratom. You should check those out. There's actually some really good shows. No, there's not 2 girls downstairs in the house. Dylan was on the 2nd floor. I thought they were downstairs too, but apparently not. Where was I? I've lost my spot. Okay, here we go. On November 18th, according to Washington State, he registered the Elantra with Washington. Prior to this time, the 2015 Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with a Pennsylvania officer who is currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my own experience, and communication with Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Koberger is still driving the 2015 white Hyundai Elantra because his vehicle was captured on December 13th by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. Information provided by a query to database. Koberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15th, 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana. Then on December 16th, 2022, at 2:26 p.m., video showed Koberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Koberger. Koberger has family in Albrightsville, PA, learned through a TLO search and locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Koberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Koberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. Is cloud-based forensics like phone? These records show that Koberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. He wrote in his essay he had interest in... So this was only in October of 2022. He wrote in his essay he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Did this motherfucker want to be part of the damn law enforcement so he can get inside info? Oh my goodness. He also posted a Reddit survey which can be found in open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize towers in close proximity to the King Road residence. So to this one. November 13th, between 3 and 5 a.m., after determining that Koberger was associated to both the 2000. So I guess they ran his phone. They got warrants, and they ran his phone. A query of the phone in these returns did not show the phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So he didn't have his phone. Based on my training and experience and conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records as part of the investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime or turn their cellular phone off prior to going to the location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime is committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the date of the crime. Depending on the circumstances, this could be done a few days before or for several months prior to the commission of the crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual will not leave their cellular phone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. Yeah, he might have left it behind on purpose. The sheath. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th, 12 a.m., and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider. Approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicide. On December 23rd, pursuant to that search warrant, I received records for the phone. These records indicated that the phone is subscribed to Brian Koberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since June 23rd, 2022. These records also include a historical cell site location for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI special agent that is a certified member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST. Basically, they're well taught on this stuff. You consult it with the person who has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, 6 years with the FBI. On November 13th at approximately 2:42 a.m., the phone was utilizing cellular resources that provided coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment G201, so that was his residence. So it was at 2:42. At approximately 2:47, it utilized resources that provided coverage of the southeast of the Coburg residence, consistent with him leaving the residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or the phone is turned off. The phone does not report to the network again until 4:48 a.m. So as the phone goes dead, during the time of the murders, basically. Just he either turns it off, turns it in airplane mode, or whatever. But it does leave his house, so it must have been in his car, most likely in airplane mode. At which it comes back on after 4:48 a.m. on State Highway 95 south of Moscow near Blaine, Idaho, north of Genesee. Between 4:50 and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with it traveling south on Idaho State Highway 95 to Genesee, Idaho, then traveling. But so does he go home and then he leaves again and travels to Idaho, I guess? Because they have him driving back home. So I'm guessing after he got home. This is confusing to me because I felt like when they explained all the camera stuff, it was him driving home after the killings. And now this is him driving in Idaho. Or maybe that was him driving to the killings that they were explaining earlier. I guess it earlier. No, because it followed back the other way. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused about that. If he drove all the way back to his house afterwards and they have him on camera, why is he in Idaho? I don't think they used genetic genealogy. They went in his trash. They went through the trash and found, they knew who he was by his car. And then they knew who it was by his car, and then they went through his trash. I don't remember seeing anything about genealogy, but I could be wrong. Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back into Pullman, Washington at approximately 5:30 a.m. The phone is utilizing resources that provide coverage of Pullman, Washington, and consistent with the phone traveling back to the Koberger residence. The phone's movements are consistent with the movements of the white Elantra that is traveling north on Stadium Drive at yeah, see? All right, so I guess it came. Okay, so it was later when they got him driving back. So he drove somewhere in Idaho and then back. Maybe that's where he dumped his stuff. I hope they checked Blaine, Idaho, or whatever for his stuff. All right, this is what I'm guessing. He left the house, and then he on his way to like Blaine, Idaho, or whatever. He turns his phone back on, which is probably where he dumped all his shit. And then they have him on camera driving back home later. All right, so further review indicated that the phone utilizes resources on leaving the Koberger residence at 9 a.m., traveling to Moscow. Specifically, the phone utilizes resources to provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. So he was at their house in the morning after the killings. He left on the 13th. He left his house at 9 a.m. and traveled to Moscow. And he utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 and 9:21, which the cops weren't there yet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you think he might have known Dylan? Because why did he go back there and she didn't call the police yet? It's the next day. She didn't call till 12. But he goes back there on the morning of at 9 a.m.? He's in that area? I wonder if he has a connection to Dylan. That's weird to me. That's weird. Like, how did you know? I would be terrified to even go near that friggin' house the next morning. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it. Yeah, but He knew somebody saw him. He knew somebody saw him and he had the balls to go back to that house. I don't know. Why would anyone drive by the cops after committing a murder? I don't know. I would not, if I knew I killed someone, I would not be anywhere near that fucking place. I'm out. Below is a depiction, not to scale, of the possible route taken based off the cellular site locations, which I won't be able to see. So, it's like really dark, so it's hard to see. I gotta be quick, so I'm gonna have to go get my kid soon. Alright. Investigators found that the 8458 phone did connect to the cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th, but investigators do not believe the phone was in Moscow on that date. And the phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training, experience, and the facts of the investigation thus far, I believe that Koberger, the user of the phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, Washington, and that his vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the 8458 phone during the early morning hours of November 13th and the lack of the 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 12:47 and 4:48 a.m. is consistent with Koberg attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at King Road residence. All right, so this one. On December 23rd, I was granted a search warrant for Koberger's historical CSLI from June 23rd to, I guess, current. So way back. He got all his information from way back. To current, from June to current, prospective location information, and a pen registered trap and trace on 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Koberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to the offense. Conducted surveillance on King Road resident, was in contact with any of the victims' associates before or after the alleged offense. Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, 2022, the location of the white Elantra registered to Koberg, as well as the location of Koberg. On December 23rd, pursuant to the search warrant, I received records from the phone from the time the account was opened in June. After consulting with CAST, I was able to determine estimated locations for the phone from June to present. The time period authorized by the court. The records for the phone showed the phone utilizing cellular sources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to the November 13th date. So he was around there on at least 12 occasions. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. So he was like watching them in the middle of the night? What the fuck? On one of these occasions, August 21st, 2022, the phone utilized cellular sources providing coverage to the King Road residents from approximately 10:34 to 11:35. At approximately 11:37, he was stopped by an officer. The phone was utilizing cellular sources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this frame, Farm Road and Pullman Highway. That's far, though. He got pulled over here. That's in Pullman. All right. Further analysis of cellular data provided showed the phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho, via Highway I-195. At approximately 12:36 p.m., the phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand, located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage from the U.S. Chef store at Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington, and adjacent to Kate's Cup of Joe showed a white Elantra consistent with suspect vehicle 1, drive past Kate's Cup of Joe, consistent with the cellular data. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the phone utilized data in the area of Albertson's grocery store and 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston. So basically, they found him at a bunch of places, and they checked the surveillance, and it matched up that it was him. Additional analysis of the records show that his phone utilized cellular resources that provide coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The 8458 phone then stops reporting to the network from 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the phone being the area that the 8458 phone traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred. On December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from Koberger family residence located in Albrightsville, PA. The evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. So they went in the trash and they got... So it wasn't genealogy. I don't know why they reported that. I didn't see anything about genealogy. Unless they matched that to genealogy. Let me see. The evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile. Oh, so I guess they got the dad's DNA from the trash. At least 99.99998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Based on the above information, I am requesting a warrant to be issued for Brian Koberger for burglary at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of murder in the first degree of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. So, there you see it. That's crazy. So no, it wasn't genealogy. They went in the trash. Yeah, she opened her door 3 times and she didn't call 911. She saw the killer go by her door. She heard crying and she saw the killer walk by her door and she locked herself in the room in shock. I just think that's so weird. Like, why wouldn't you call 911 right away? Like, you're locked in your room, you know what I mean? Yeah, but it said Pullman and Farm Road, Ryan. Pullman and Farm Road, that's where they meet. Unless there's another Pullman and Farm Road in Moscow. Let me see. Oh, I'm just so blown away by this. Like, I wish they would have given more information about like their injuries, because yeah, I mean, this is considered... So it's in Moscow. All right, it's in Moscow. Oh, it's actually closer than I thought. I thought this was on the other side. So it is in Moscow. You're right. All right, so their house is here, over here. And he got pulled over there. So yeah, it's pretty close. Sorry, I thought it was on the other side. That's my bad. Oh man, that's crazy. I just can't get over that she didn't call 911. I just cannot. I've seen that Papa Roger stuff. Now I gotta go back now. We got all this information and read all the Papa Roger stuff. So crazy. I wish they would have given more information on, like, if anyone was, like, had worse injuries or, like, who fought back. Like, I mean, little more. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll find all this out at trial, but, go look at the screenshots. Oh, wow. So a lot of people think that Papa Roger, some guy in the groups, which was the killer, and he left a post that said, of the evidence release on November 30th, this was. The murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. This evidence was released prior to autopsy. Huh, that's crazy. Probably is him then. Wow. Wonder if that was him calling into places too. Yeah, she's probably beating herself up over it. For sure. That's crazy though. I wonder if he was the person who called in too. Like, if he was trolling in groups. I'm sure he was all over trolling under anonymous names, you know what I mean? So crazy. Sorry, I'm trying to send a picture to. She didn't go to any of the funerals or memorials? Really? I didn't know that. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to be like, oh, it's just really strange to me that, like, I just can't believe it. I mean, if I saw something like that, I'd be like, holy crap, call 911 right the frig now. I'm not going to sleep till 12 p.m. the next day. Yeah, we didn't get any details about the 911 call either, which is pretty shitty too. I just can't believe. Like, girl, why did you. Ugh, I'll never get over that. Like, if you're scared, you know what I mean? You see some stranger in all black walk by your room with a mask on his face and you heard someone crying and he just walks by you and goes out, you're just like, okay, let me go back in my room and go to bed. I don't know. I can't get down with that. I hope they release the 911 call now, but there's a gag order on everything, so they probably won't. You don't want to give too much information away because uh you don't want to taint the jury pool. You don't want the jury to already know all this stuff before they go on the stand, because then they're like because when you hear about it in the media, you get swayed a certain way, you know what I mean? But then when you can hear about it on court, you hear it and then you hear the cross exam and you hear the arguments, and it's better to not hear those things until court. I mean, of course, like I'm curious, but at the same time, it's probably better that it comes out in court. You know what I mean? Papa Roger was this person who was in the Facebook groups leaving really strange posts. Like, really strange. Like, a lot of posts that sounded like he was talking creepy or like being creepy or that he knew more info. You know what I'm saying? He left a lot of really strange posts in the Facebook groups. And a lot of people the whole time were like, dude, you're weird. Like accusing him of possibly being the killer because he was saying some weird stuff. So that's who Paparazzer is. There's, a lot of stuff going around about that. I've seen a lot of, if you go on the Facebook groups, they have posts all about it in there. But he did leave some strange things. I'll have to go back and find them all. But there was definitely some really, really strange posts. But I am going to hop off. Wow, it took me an hour and a half to read that. Well, I had to go through every little thing and look it up on the map and talk about it on the way. I get easily sidetracked. So, gosh, I can't believe it took me an hour and a half to read all that. But I'm going to have to leave to pick my kid up from school soon. So I'm going to skedaddle, as B. Tim would say. But I will maybe be, well, I think Parker's going live tonight. Go there and then I'll probably be back tomorrow or something. We'll chat about things, or I'll wing it, see what happens. But thanks for coming, everybody. And if any more stuff gets released or whatever, I'll be back and we'll talk about it. I'll definitely hop back on. But I'll be at Parker's tonight, so see y'all there. And have a good day, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Talk to y'all later. You have a great rest of your day too, Linda. And maybe I'll see if I could pull up some Papa Roger posts and we can go through them when I come back. Maybe Cali glitter could be, or that he had gloves on so he didn't get anything on it, Dummy. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. Oh, Positively Parker here. I'll give you a link. I think it's under Parker. I know, right, Rye? He's like, you put the worst one. I tend to think it was a nice model pick, but he doesn't like that one. You know how to mess with them. We got a good looking family. What can I say? You know what I mean? We models out here. Okay. All right, guys. Yep. That's Parker's channel. She'll be live later. I'll be there. Talk to you later, y'all. See you then. Nightbot saves the day.